Hello and welcome back to RailRoads Online. So today we are here with the final rank and review of the Tier 6 locomotives. So that's what we're joined by Dakota and Gizmo today. Gonna bring in the last of the tiers. Alright, so first one on our list today, I think what oldest locomotive, class 70 or the Climax, either one. I'm down.
Climax.
That works for me.
Hey,
Bring it on forward. The Climax. One of the original locomotives.
you in that one? Oh, okay. I thought you were in that one, Dakota.
We did turn around and put the onion stack on this one. It's one of the only ones you get the onion stack on, so. There we go. Alright, sweet. So that brings us to the start with the Climax. We're going to jump right in with looks. I have to say,
Looks
I've
cool.
always been a huge fan of this one. Always, even when, I've always thought it's one of the best looking locomotives in the game. To be
Yeah, I'd have to
honest.
give it a 5 for looks, just with all the gears and everything.
I agree. This
I'd go with
this
7.
one's a winner for me. So, yep, we'll give it a top end score 5 there on that one. Brings us to sound.
It's cool with the new sounds that they added recently. The
Yeah,
new, very eerie sounds.
right. And this one, can you hear the generator when this one turns on?
Yes.
Right. This one still is the home up. So yeah, I mean, for me, it's a 5. It's got all of, you know, it's got the sound. I think the bell is the only generic thing on this, right? Yeah, there you
Yes.
go. That's killer. See, this one's got the proper, yeah, 5 unless anybody else disagrees.
I'm good with that.
All right. That brings
Yep.
us to use. For me, this one is a 4 for use, and the only reason I say that is because it's a little slow. So if it comes to like long runs, I'm not a huge fan of driving this one for long runs.
It does have a rear headlight, so it is good for night session.
Right?
Yep.
I guess we could give it a 5 for use. I mean, it's slow, but it's still going to do the job, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's got night lights, they're on, they're not even the crappy lights, they're just on a switch, so you don't have to do, easy use, I guess, is there. Alright. We'll say 5 on that one. Whoa. Knocking my thing around. Alright, that brings us to cost. Which isn't this
Yeah.
the most expensive loco in the game?
Base price is 5,650 before you start adding stuff on it, which is just the stacks only. And that'll take you up to about 5,700.
Alright. Do we find it a value for the cost? I guess is where I'm at. Baby, I'm a toss between a 3 and a 4. It's too much
You have better options for less
Yes.
time.
for less,
You can
right?
save money with a different option and get more cars and stuff.
That's true. So what do we think, 3 or 4?
Yeah, I'd have to give it a 3.
Okay. Dakota? What do you think?
I'd say 3.5.
Alright, we'll give it a 3 because that's just the closest we're going to come to a consensus. Alright. That brings us to power. Which that's kind of king of the road right here, so we kind of got to give it a 5.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think the tracked effort is like 17,000 or something like that.
yeah. I think it still owns the roost for attractive effort.
17,210.
So definitely the power wagon out of the group. And then that's going to bring us to history. Which for this one isn't great, right?
Yeah, I'd have to give it a 1.
Yeah, I mean, I think the highest I could give it is a 2. Let's be honest. Most of its life it's spent spinning the wheels more than it's spent running the track. So,
Yeah.
what do you think,
Yeah, I had
Dakota? 1 or 2? You can
2.
2. All right, we'll give it
alright.
a 2. It's definitely on the low end. It can't. Listen, it's worked, and you could always make it work. You just, whether you drug the brakes or barely used the throttle, whatever it took. So.
You had to know how to use it.
Yeah, right. All right, that's gonna finish out the climax. Let's see where that puts it. 20. Looks like 25 points. That puts it solid. Although it's in a tier where it's up against, some behemoths. I guess the one thing I would say honorable mention to the climax just for simple uniqueness. I mean, that is one of our more unique locomotives. That's for sure. So then that'll bring us to the Class 70.
Alright.
Formerly the Queen of the Rails, I think, probably. Kind of used to be our best locomotive all the way around, right?
Yeah.
For a long time. So you notice on this one we did go with the classic, classic American flag paint scheme. Just kind of what it originally had. So there we go. Gonna jump right in with the looks on the Class 70.
I like the Class 70's looks. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, from the beginning of the game, it's always had the looks. I would have expected an update with it, though. With all the updates that we've gotten.
It is kind
But
of
it still
surprising not
holds up.
much has changed.
Yeah, it still holds up.
Alright, we'll give her a 5. I mean, it is hard to, you could always be better, but what do you nitpick on it, right? So I guess, it's all there. The plate's nice and readable. Some of the plates aren't very readable in some cases. This one's kind of got it all.
Positions. Yeah.
Right. It's there. Options. It's got a few options. It could have more paint options, would make it nicer, that's for sure. That's one thing we didn't take into account a lot, were options of looks. Where this one does not have. I mean, it's got 2 paint options that are basically the same. Black or black.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
There's that. But, alright, we'll call that one a 5. That brings us to sound for the Class 70. Ooh. It's kind of tough, really, because it is just middle of the road when it comes to sound, right?
It has to have to say 2 to 3, just because it,
Yeah.
it hasn't really gotten anything.
And it
Right.
sounds like a
Except
lot
the
of the
basic
other
stuff.
engines.
Basic, yeah.
Okay. I think 3 is probably fair. We'll say it's middle of the road, It's not bad, but it's got nothing special.
Yeah.
All right.
True.
That brings us to use, which I don't know. I'm inclined to say this one you got to give a 5 on use. What can't the Class 70 do, right?
Everyone's used to Class 70 at least once.
Right, for everything. I mean, if you had one locomotive, you could definitely do everything with this thing. That brings us to cost.
Yeah. So what does it cost on that? Like 15? Or no, not 15. 5,600 base price. Yeah.
5,000, so a little bit cheaper than the Climax.
5,660 after you change some stuff on it with your headlight and your smokestack.
I guess this one I'm inclined to give it a 4 for its cost. It costs, yes, the cost is high, but you get a lot for what you're buying. I guess one could almost argue it's a 5.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
it costs
you're getting what you're paying for.
right. Let's go ahead and switch that to a 5. I mean, you really do get everything, and well, yes, but you pay a fair price for it. It's not like it's overpriced. That's for
Yeah.
sure. All right, that brings us to power. Again, again, I'm inclined to go with a 5 there. I mean,
Yeah.
what do what do you want? It's
I give it a 4. Just since we got a little upgrade that's coming up next.
fair, but then I'm almost inclined to
Yeah.
put all 3 of these honestly in a 5. I
Yeah.
mean, as far
Yeah.
as the game goes, this locomotive, when we did that, pulling almost 200 cars, we were running them with one locomotive.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was fun.
It took us 2 of them to get it started, but then we shut that other one down and just were pulling the whole thing with one. That's pretty hard to beat.
True.
Yeah, that's a 5.
All right, how about history? I gotta be honest, I don't think there's ever been an issue with the Class 70 that I know.
Yeah.
I agree. I think the only thing I could think of was turn radius back in the day with the old splines, if I remember correctly, but that's about it.
All right. We'll call that good then for the Class 70. Gives it 28 points. I think that's our all-time leader right there. Not a surprise, to be honest. I think it just edged out. One of them we had a 27 on something. Yeah, we had a 27 on something. But otherwise, Class 70 is a winner. That's for sure. Always been one of the best locomotives in the game, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's been up there. That was the engine to go for back in the day.
Right. The go-to, like that was, if you could have 4 of them, you'd take them. All right, that brings us to the 1024 and a half. The Tweetsie. All right. It is the best whistle in the game. At least in my opinion.
Everyone loves that whistle.
Yeah, that's got the best whistle in the game now. Alright. There we go. So let's jump right in with the looks. To me, this one's got it. You could almost argue, it's a 1 to 5. You could give this one a 6.
This is your main polar.
Yeah. I mean, great looking locomotive, in my opinion. For sure. I like the color options. It's got, the green is great because it's subtle. It's not way over the top like some of the other color options that we've had.
Yeah.
This one just really fits the bill. You have the black options for you, a little bit of black and red. This one I think they got right when it comes to the looks. The model is absolutely incredibly done, I think. The lines on it are good. Everything on this one's pretty sound. I mean, to be honest, I think this is arguably the best model in the game.
I could agree with that.
All right.
It's got the knuckle couplers too.
That too. Yep. It's got the look. Even if they don't function, they are part of the look. So it's got that look. All right, that brings us to sound. Which, again, I think that's got to be a 5 for this one, right? Just if nothing else, the whistle, the generator,
the chuffs,
yeah,
everything sounds great.
Yeah, this one's got it where it counts. That's for sure.
The only thing about it is the bell sounds exactly like a lot of the other engines, but that's not too big of a.
Yeah, the bell's a bell.
Not too big of an issue.
It would be nice if it had its own bell.
Yeah.
But I think that's about the only generic-y part of this one, so.
Yeah.
Alright, how about use?
Yeah, this one, what is it, like 1,000 over the Class 70, so.
I think it's just under the Climax, isn't it? Like, just under it? like 17,000 or
17.
something.
Yep, 17, and then this one's 16,545.
Right, so barely under
Yep.
17. Yeah. Yeah, I
It's
mean,
there.
definitely got to be a 5. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, nothing this
It
loco
pulls.
can't do. I guess one could argue if it were any bigger, switching might not be that great, but it still does. It does everything. So,
Agree.
all right, that's gonna bring us to cost, which I know this one probably gets pricey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is up there. Base price is 7,000, and then you're rolling into with the upgrades of the headlight and the different stack of about
Ouch.
7,125.
Yeah. So does that knock it down to a 3, or do we go with a 4 for cost? It can't be a
Um,
5. It's too expensive compared to
Yeah.
yeah.
other options. So that's one where it's got to hurt. I mean, if it's 1,500 more expensive than the Class 70, but you're almost getting the same locomotive. It's just coal
Yeah.
versus wood. The only thing really you're getting here over the Class 70 is, infinite coal, basically. Let's
Yeah.
be honest. This locomotive, you're basically never going to have to refuel.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'd
So,
have to say for being a player in the game for a while, having the money to spend on it, it wasn't too bad. But I think somebody new in the game, that'd be a little rough.
right, if you're trying to grind this loco out, like I remember where
Yeah.
I was at in the save file when this came out, and in fact, you helped me, Gizmo, run the loads to buy this
Yeah.
thing, right? Because I
Yeah.
was at like 0 with this locomotive coming out the next day. So,
Yeah, and it
was
was all wood that we
yeah,
ran.
mad
just did it,
dash
yeah.
to make the money. So, yeah, I guess we'll go with a 4. I mean, it's definitely a great loco, so you can't complain about spending the money on it. You don't have to refuel
Yeah.
it, but it is still pricey. Let's be honest,
Growing pain.
for sure. Satisfying once you get it, but it's gonna take you a minute to get there.
Yeah.
All right, that brings us to power, which I think's got to be a 5.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, not much this thing can't pull. I don't think there's much more need be said about that one. And that brings us to the history. Now, this one's got one of the shorter histories, obviously,
Yeah.
but
It,
I don't remember it coming in buggy at all.
no.
So
I think the only bug that I can remember was the hitbox of the coal when you throw the coal in there.
right.
Isn't that for the cook? Oh wait, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the hitbox for the coal.
But then was that
That's the only thing I
just
think
this
of.
one, or was that coal across the board?
That I can't remember.
I thought we kind of just had issues with coal feeding off of the bat. I don't know. It's been a while now, but well, we could knock it down to a 4 or give it a 5. What do you think?
I'd give it a 5 since it's been
Yeah.
pretty solid.
Sounds good to me. We will give it a 5. So that's gonna finish that one out. And I do think, overall, this one you kind of got to shine a light on the fact that it really is maybe the best locomotive. I think our score is going to show it, that it's the best. 15, 20, 25, yeah, 29 points. So 29 out of 30 possible is what this one pulls, which gives it the slight win over the Class 70. Can't complain. But I think with that, we're going to call that one a wrap up and review of all of the tiers. So for us anyway, we got the 1024 as the winner, Class 70 coming in just behind it. And I think we found some good locomotives throughout all of the tiers. And to be honest, I'm kind of surprised at the overall scores on the locomotives, to be real. We have some pretty decent locos in the game. So I guess with that one, we'll say thanks, guys, for helping out. Say thanks for tuning in. Remember, if you get a chance, like, share, subscribe. Subscriptions are free, but they sure do help the channel. Y'all have a great day.